that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the day that hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat of not a weary feet, come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that where tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of a bright star is cast.
Good morning and welcome to the MLK celebration. Let's now start with our invocation. If everyone could bow your heads right where you are. God of all creation, we come before you today to give you honor and praise. You are worthy of all praise. You are the source of all that is good. You're the source of all of our blessings. Thank you for every need you have provided and every gift that we have been given. We ask for your hand of blessing on our communities, nation, and the world as we confront many significant issues. During the MLK celebration, open our hearts and our minds to your will for our lives. We ask that you would guide and direct us today. We thank you for how we will be challenged today to be leaders in our families, places of worship, and communities. As a result, we trust you that we will have an impact on the world. We thank you for this virtual platform where we can continue to pay homage to the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you for helping us to enjoy this celebration on this day. Let everyone say, amen.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the UNCF WIAC 38th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Birthday Celebration, which in these challenging times is more meaningful than ever. By the way, this WIAC event is UNCF's first, oldest, and largest MLK Jr. Day breakfast celebration in the country. I'm Sam Burston, Vice President for Institutional Advancement at UNCF's largest member institution, Clark Atlanta University, and I am so very delighted to serve as your host for this most special occasion. I hope you enjoyed the rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing, written by Clark Atlanta University alumnus James Weldon Johnson. Now, the song is being proposed by South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn to be the U.S. national hymn. So let's lend the Congressman our prayers and our support. The piece was produced by Music Miranda, who is a junior at Charles Herbert Flowers High School in Prince George's County, Maryland. And the song was performed by today's featured vocalist, Aliyah Wahidki, and accompanist Valeria Foster. And thank you to Pastor John David Savoy for your centering moment through the invocation. Pastor Savoy is a native Washingtonian. He's a Redskins fan, a Capitals fan, a Wizards fan, an Orioles fan, and currently serves as senior pastor at New Dimensions Church. He is a graduate of the University of Maryland and lives by the mantra of Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. The Lord will fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Again, we are delighted you could join us this morning, albeit virtually. Now, during the breakfast, I will give shout outs to UNCF's 37 jewels in higher education. And let's name a few: Allen University, Benedict College, Bennett College, Bethune-Cookman University, Claflin University, Dillard University, Edward Waters College, Fisk University, and of course, Clark Atlanta University. We would like to complete the program in a timely manner today, so let's get started with greetings from WIAC President Monica Ray. Madam President.
Good morning. I am Monica Ray, President of Washington Inter-Alumni Council of United Negro College Fund, and I would like to welcome each one of you this morning to the 38th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast, first virtual. Imagine that in the year of 2021, we are celebrating virtually the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I would like to take this time to thank Dr. Tressie Muldrow and her wonderful committee who came up with this creative idea to, in fact, hold the first virtual. Washington, D.C. is known for first because it is the Washington Inter-Alumni Council that held the very first Martin Luther King breakfast. So once again, we are trendsetting here in the nation's capital. Each one of you are very important to our mission. And I'd like to thank you for continuing your allegiance to Washington Inter-Alumni Council of United Negro College Fund, where we make a difference in the lives of our 39 HBCU affiliate schools. I would like for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's program. Thank you very much for your commitment, and please continue your support of Washington Inter-Alumni Council of United Negro College Fund. Enjoy.
Hello, I am Aaliyah Scott, Miss National UNCF, a rising senior at Wiley College in Marshall, Texas. On behalf of the National Alumni Council, National Pre-Alumni Council, it is with great excitement that I bring you greetings and welcome to the virtual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast hosted by the DC Inter-Alumni Council of UNCF. It has been my pleasure to serve as Miss National UNCF in 2020 and to further my reign into year 2021. The rich tradition of Wiley College, home of the great debaters, and the Nate Parker Film Institute motivated me to further my education, broaden my horizons, and expand my career goals to become a physical therapist. A warm thank you to President Monica Ray for her incredible leadership of the Washington IAC. Thank you for your investment in UNCF. Haven't had the opportunity to invest yet? Click the link in the chat to make a donation. To our virtual audience, wherever you may be joining us, I leave you with the Wiley College motto: go forth inspired.
Miss National UNCF 2021, Aaliyah Scott. Jewels in Higher Education, Florida Memorial University, Houston Tillotson University, the Interdenominational Theological Center, Jarvis Christian College, Johnson C. Smith University, Lane College, and the Lemoyne-Owen College. Let's give them a virtual round of applause. Thank you so much. This next dynamic individual is a Washington native and began her vocal studies at the Duke Ellington School of the Arts, Interlochen Arts Academy, and received her Bachelor's of Science in Music from Morgan State University. She has been a featured soloist in performance venues such as the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, Carnegie Hall, and the Meyerhoff Concert Hall. Miss Waheed is a soloist and with the Washington National Opera, performing If I Can Help Somebody. Our featured vocalist for the morning, ladies and gentlemen, soprano, Aaliyah Waheed.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show he is traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian, if I can bring back beauty to a world abroad, if I can spread love's message that the Master taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. And my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. And my living shall not be in vain. Oh, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, what a moving rendition. And let's give Aaliyah Waheed, with a voice of an angel like that, you must enunciate the name properly. Aaliyah Waheed, a standing ovation for that beautiful rendition. Thank you, Aaliyah. It is now time to honor two most deserving individuals with two special awards, the Measure of a Person Award and the Grace Walker Phillips Youth Leadership Award. Our first honoree is a research fellow in the Viral Pathogenesis Laboratory at the National Institute of Health, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Vaccine Research Center. She received a BS in Biological Sciences with a secondary major in sociology in 2008 from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, where she was a Meyerhoff Scholar and an NIH undergraduate scholar. She then enrolled at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, from where she obtained her PhD in microbiology and immunology, which is much needed today. Along with her research activities, she is an active member of the NIH Fellows Committee and avid advocate for STEM education and vaccine awareness in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2021 WIAC Measure of a Person Award honoree, Dr. Kizzmekia S. Corbett.
Good morning. It is an absolute honor to be recognized by the Washington Inter-Alumni Council of the United Negro College Fund. I am absolutely delighted to be the recipient of the 2021 Measure of a Person Award. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." This past year has been particularly devastating and overwhelming for us all. We watched a global pandemic of a virus that we had never seen before transmit around the world. It is the most devastating public health disaster in the last 100 years. In our African American communities in particular, it is devastating us at rates of up to 3 times more than our white counterparts. Beside that, we watched our brother George Floyd get murdered by a police officer who was supposed to be protecting him. One could say that pandemics piled upon pandemics. But one thing that I am reminded is that seasons change, and from darkness, light shall come. Times of challenge often present themselves so our light can shine through. To me, as I have said previously, the happenings of the last year are the universe's way of testing our grit and perseverance. Change is coming. And to have the ability to use my scientific knowledge to incite change from both the scientific and vaccine perspective, but also from the health disparity perspective, is just one example of standing in the midst of challenge and controversy and rising above. It is my hope that the work continues, that the measure of each of us prevails, and may God bless you on this MLK morning. You stay well.
Thank you, Dr. Corbett, for your dedication and for your service to the community. Congratulations. Grace Walker Phillips was the embodiment of service leadership, community engagement, and mentorship. Her spirit engendered professionalism and excellence. Her devotion to the UNCF Washington Inter-Alumni Council remains unparalleled. Our second recipient, a Tougaloo College graduate and a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. He has a JD from the University of Denver Strum College of Law. Most recently, he served as the National Director of African American Engagement for the Biden-Harris campaign. The evidence of Mr. Baker's outstanding achievements extensive community engagement and deep investment in empowering the national community across generations, as well as socioeconomic lines, honors the Grace Walker Phillips legacy. As you stand on the shoulders of many, know that you also stand in for many. Ladies and gentlemen, the Grace Walker Phillips Youth Leadership Award honoree, Trey Baker.
Good evening, everyone, and I just want to start by thanking the Washington Inter-Alumni Council of the UNCF, my home chapter, the Washington Area Tougaloo Alumni Chapter, and its president, Kathy Mosley, for bestowing upon me this great award, the Grace Walker Phillips Youth Leadership Award, here at your 38th annual birthday celebration for Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King once said, from a mountain of despair, a stone of hope. And that's very relevant to where we are right now. There's so much going on in the country. Right now, we're on in the throes of this pandemic that's preventing us from being together here tonight. Right now in Washington, D.C., the city is in a virtual state of lockdown because of the inauguration, but it's made worse by the siege that was laid on the Capitol. And so there's a lot of reasons to despair, but there is this stone of hope that's there. It's a stone of hope that there's help on the way in the terms of a brand new administration that's coming in that's going to be helpful for us and our communities and our organizations and our institutions, and that will be so much more helpful for our children and for our parents to be able to live and breathe in this country and have some sense of normalcy once again. There's a stone of hope in organizations like the UNCF and like all of the organizations and institutions represented here today, because you are doing the work, and you're supporting people, and you're giving people like me the opportunity to come and show some leadership and show some of what we can do. And so I just wanted to say that I appreciate this opportunity. I am humbled by it. And I look forward to going forward and continuing to do the work. Thank you once again for this award, and thank you to Waytech who sponsored or nominated me for this award. And I look forward to next time we pull this group together, we be able to do it in person. So thank you so much, and have a great night.
Thank you. Congratulations again to our two award honorees, Dr. Kismikia S. Corbett and Trey Baker. And Trey says help is on the way. UNCF Jewels in Higher Education, Livingstone College, Miles College, Morehouse College, Morris College, Oakwood University, Payne College, and Philander Smith College. Let's give those jewels in higher education a virtual round of applause as well. This is so much fun. I'm having so much fun doing this. And again, thank you to the committee for inviting me to serve in this capacity. Now it is time to hear from our speaker for the morning. Today's breakfast speaker is president and founding principal of REACH, Beyond Solutions, LLC, a faith, advocacy, executive leadership, and public health firm. She hails from Southern New Jersey and is a former track and field athlete and earned her Bachelor's of Science degree in exercise physiology and Master's of Public Health degree from Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana, and Master's of Divinity at the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology at UNCF member institution, Virginia Union University. This ordained Baptist preacher and associate member at the Alfred Street Baptist Church currently serves on the executive board of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and is a member of Jack and Jill of America and the Links Incorporated, where she serves on the Eastern Area Leadership Team. Wow, this is a busy, busy woman, a busy, dynamic, and phenomenal woman. UNCF family, I present to you our speaker for the morning, Reverend Siobhan Erlene Bradley.
Good morning, everyone. I want to make sure you all can hear me. I believe we have some audio here.
We can hear you very well. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm Reverend Siobhan Erlene Bradley, and it is an honor to serve with you this morning. I do want to acknowledge Dr. Tressie and the president, Monica Ray, and all of you that have decided to log on another Zoom call in the midst of this pandemic. I know we are zoomed out, but I do want to say thank you so much. I have some family members that were able to join. My husband, Andrew's on the line. The little one is downstairs. We're keeping him quiet. And my mother is here from New Jersey, Louise Arline. So glad to have you here. And I do need to acknowledge my sorority sisters are actually here. I see you in the chat, but I want to thank Artist Hampshire Cowan and Rhonda Briggins for joining me personally. We serve on the board together, and to my Link sisters and Jack and Jill mothers of the world, and my HBCU grads. It is good to be in the land of the living in the midst of a pandemic. I am Baptist, which means I'm going to keep you right on time. All right, so we're going to get you through this conversation, but there is something that is on my heart this morning. And when I thought about what I would talk about today, there's a tag for today's conversation. And the real question of the day is, what happened to the dream? What happened to the dream? The third Monday of January for the last 35 years, the United States has commemorated the life of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This country stands in solidarity. Well, most of the country stands in solidarity with the keeper of the dream, the man who was on a mission, the man who was mocked and marginalized by his fellow clergy, who supposedly served the same Jesus and honored justice the way he did. The man who helped to alter the economic health of a city with a bus boycott, who at the tender age of 26 went from being a local preacher to a life-changing prophet, sounding the alarm on the immoral fabric of our union while proclaiming "In God we trust" and with liberty and justice for all. This man who believed civil disobedience and nonviolence were the most effective tactics for a movement, who would sacrifice his life after 39 years at the hand of the very violence that he denounced. Many of us, we've seen the black and white footage of King's most storied moments, but when most of the world thinks of Martin Luther King Jr., not only do they recall the bus boycotts, the demonstrations, the letters from the Birmingham jail, we can probably agree that we most always gravitate to that most infamous gift of oration to the world that changed the trajectory of the civil rights movement. It's the I Have a Dream speech on the March on Washington. Now, many don't know, but this speech was not on Dr. King's manuscript that day. These words were actually previewed 2 months before the March on Washington in Detroit, Michigan in 1963 in June. On that fateful day in August, gospel great Mahalia Jackson watched Dr. King closely and realized that the entire world needed to know about this man's dream. And she signaled to him like any good church mother would, "Martin, tell him about that dream." Mahalia knew that if the dream of freedom would ever come to pass, it would only happen if the right people heard the right words at the right time. And she was right. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. King had a dream that day, that his 4 little children would one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. King had a dream on that day, and his voice rang out. His convictions were clear. King had a dream swaddled in the euphoria of justice, peace, love, and freedom. But friends, I ask you, in 2021, What happened to the dream? If Dr. King could log on to Zoom right now, what would he say about what he sees? I wonder if he's in the heavenly realm asking with pain and anguish, asking with disappointment and despair that after sacrificing everything he loved, his family, his livelihood, and even his own life, America, what happened to the dream? The dream of peaceful transfers of power, the dreams of a fair and just criminal justice system that would unleash the same fury on a mob that would storm the Capitol as they did for protesters marching for Black lives. What happened to the dream? The dream of quality public schools for all children in all districts, not just a select few who have access to the internet. What happened to the dream? The dream of affordable quality healthcare and clear scientific public health information in the midst of one of the most deadliest pandemics known to man. What happened to the dream? The dream of realizing that Black people are not criminals, that we can check into a hotel in Soho, New York, and own an iPhone and not be a thief because someone assumes that an identical phone was stolen by an innocent child. What happened to the dream? The dream that I would not have to worry about having to talk with my son so he doesn't come home in a body bag at the hands of the people that are supposed to protect him. America, this dream of bipartisanship, where Congress could move at least one piece of legislation and agree that the White House should no longer promote a reality TV showcase. If King could speak, he would talk to America, but I suggest he would also want to ask the Black community the very same question. What happened to our dream? The dream of our community staying unified and sticking together, less worried about acknowledgement and more worried about accountability. What happened to the dream, Black community? Not allowing intergenerational difference get in the way of the progress of this modern day movement that require all hands on deck to change the trajectory of our people. This dream when Black organizations, the storied institutions that stapled our community, had no choice but to work together. Faith leaders, NAACP, Urban League, sorority, fraternity, remembering that no one cared about the color of your t-shirt. The issue of our day needs to be the best shade of all, a unified shade of Black. And as I scan the screen, I'm sure many of you want to know the answer to this very important question. How do we get the dream back? How do we get the legacy back? Well, in order to get the dream back, friends, we must first revisit our country's standards. Revisit our standards. American culture is a culture of standards. The United States has always positioned herself as a global standard for the way of living, our democracy, our freedom, our liberty. And Dr. King was well versed in his understanding of those standards, but he lived his life and his movement was a voice of reason because America had not lived up to her standards. He witnessed more double standards imposed upon people of color and could not sit idly while and watch others suffer. Today, UNCF, we've got to get back to basics. Don't forget the standards, America, of our founding fathers, the very constitutional documents that set the foundation to build this democracy are the very documents that I ask our country to consider even now. Now, like most of you, I've struggled because I know that those words were written, they weren't always meant for all of us. And if we're honest, in 2021, people are grappling with this rhetoric of equality for all people. But it is Dr. King's commemoration. And we must strive to sustain the standards set forth to ensure all Americans have equal access under the law. You see, it's easy to accept the reality that we each bring a different perspective if we agree that methods can be different and civility can be the order of the day. Do you remember when decorum in the White House was standard, when the highest office in the land was a place of reverence? I ask you today, as we honor this drum major of justice, to sound the alarm for change, where divisive rhetoric is no longer acceptable, when the evidence of treason will not be tolerated. Leaders in Washington, we're calling on you to get back to the basics. America, we want the best of you. And in 2021, we must decide the time is now. But think about our community, the Black community. We always had standards in our community. Those times when it actually took a village to raise a child, If you were not cooperating with the authority as a young person, if your parents were old school like mine, they had nothing to worry about because someone's mother down the street would deal with you, and then your parents would come home and deal with you again. Do you remember that village? Well, the village has disbanded. That sense of true community is slowly becoming a fading memory. And today, after an unprecedented election cycle, I call on the Black community, recommit to one another in honor of King. My son is your son. My problem is your problem. My pain is your pain. We don't like to talk about it, but we were in position to change things when we rooted for each other instead of bringing each other down. And in that spirit, I ask you to consider our community standards and commit yourselves to changing the lives of others one day and one act of service at a time. Not only must we revisit our standards, but to get that dream back, we must restore our country and community self-image. You see, one of the challenges with the United States is we've lost pride in some of our greatest assets, our diversity, our commitments to the ideals of liberty and justice. The concept that America had to be great again was both concerning and misleading. You see, the only way someone can really agree with that slogan is if they don't know who America was and is supposed to be. That's an issue of self-image. I liken it to the concept of parenting teenagers. Have you ever parented a teenage girl? Yeah, my husband and I, when we were dating, his daughter was 9 years old and she's now 21. But something happened to that child when she turned about 13 or 14. I mean, she became the part of the reason why her father and I stayed on our knees, praying that we wouldn't kill her, we wouldn't let her kill us. There was a time she got to high school and she was dealing with identity because she didn't see any good in herself. She got into an academic bind and was hanging out with ill-informed friends. She tried to cater to her base, well, actually, listen to some not so positive peers in school, and it cost her so much. Well, the summer came, she graduated from high school, and then she said the words that her father and I dreaded hearing, I don't think I want to go to college. And if you are learning anything about your speaker today, that didn't go well in the Bradley household. Well, got to the summertime, and as you all know, it's time to start going to school in August for your freshman year. Well, my daughter did not have what she needed, and so I made some phone calls. Her bonus mother made a few phone calls to an institution that accepted me for my Master's of Divinity. And in the month of August, by God's grace, not only was she accepted into Virginia Union University, that same girl who kept us on our knees is now a junior in college with a 4.0 GPA. She had to restore her self-image. You see, the America that King knew had a questionable past. And if we're honest, we know Lady Liberty has some skeletons in her closet, but King's life work stood on the principle that there was promise in our country. The problem with those that are in influential roles that perpetuate division and strife is that they don't see our greatness because of a distorted self-image. My kind is not your kind. My color is not your color. My class is not your class. My identity is not yours. America, your past sins cannot be erased, but they can be the catalyst to spark the change we need to see in our country. And just like that teenage girl who grew up in my home, who was desperate for a change, America, Black community, you are beautiful. You have potential. Your ideals are great. The opportunities for us to sustain our greatness lie in the hands of all of us that are on this Zoom. We must continue to serve. We can't be great if our self-image is wrapped up in partisan gridlock. We can't be great if we only appeal to some and not all. Black community, we can't be great if we see ourselves the way oppressors have pegged us to be. The dream that Dr. King wanted to realize was ignited by a desire for America and for the Black community to live our best life. But it cannot happen without an understanding of who we are. As I close, not only must we revisit our country and community standards and restore our self-image, but finally, in order to get the dream back, we must reignite our spirits. The advancement of our country and our community, it lies in the power of a divine plan. The spirit of us has to be ignited by something bigger than us. On this day, we honor a Baptist preacher who decided that the plight of his people was bigger than any personal agenda. And I'm a believer that God continued to walk with King until his very last day. This is America, and our community needs our leaders to speak truth to power. I'm a member of the Alfred Street Baptist Church. Some of our members are here, and we know that we are under a pastor who has a powerful and prophetic voice. The spirit of our movement is purposed by the Almighty. You see, when you're blessed with something like the legacy of King, there's a responsibility to uphold and sustain it. Well, what do you mean, Siobhan Arline Bradley? Well, I am a preacher, and I won't let you go without confirming this charge to reignite our spirit and sustain this great legacy without context from the great text. Luke chapter 12, verse 48, it says, "To whom much is given, much will be required." Now, you've heard that verse all over the place. You hear it in church, you hear it at your chapter meetings, you hear it all the time. And we like to use this verse, especially when we want people to do some things. Yes, we use the Bible the way we want to, but what we've done is cut the verse short. There is more to the text. To whom much is given, much will be required. But then it continues saying, and from the one to whom much has been entrusted, even more will be demanded of them. Friends of UNCF, graduates of HBCUs, bearers of the King's legacy, we've been entrusted with so much history, resources, opportunities. And in the text, Luke gives us a heads up that because we have this legacy in our hand, much more is demanded to those of us who have this access. You see, I think sometimes God has a way of showing us that we don't recognize our power and where it truly comes from. And because we do not operate in the power that has been granted to us, sometimes God has to make a move for you to move. So make the move this morning, UNCF. No more business as usual. We are the keepers of the dream. We are the holders of the flame. We are equipped with the solutions to the community's challenge. So let the Spirit move you this morning that you will make the phone call to your government leader. Let the Spirit move you this morning that you will donate to UNCF and take care of an HBCU that you know needs your resources. Let the Spirit move you and reach out to the local school with those students who need you even in a virtual world. This morning, your speaker has a dream too, that we, the descendants of slaves, will realize on this side of heaven the dream of the ultimate dreamer. UNCF, we stand on the shoulders of the man they call King. It is no cliche. You are your ancestors' wildest dreams. Kamala Harris, HBCU graduate, the ancestors rejoice. Raphael Warnock, HBCU graduate, the ancestors rejoice. Keisha Lance Bottoms, HBCU graduate, the ancestors rejoice. The Spirit says to make the move because you have been called to take on this responsibility. God didn't bless you to sit on the fat of the land and watch your fellow man in despair. Stand tall, UNCF. Stand proud. Fight the fight so that the generation coming behind us will never have to ask us the question, what happened to the dream? God bless you.
Can everybody give a virtual round of applause to Reverend Siobhan Arline Bradley? I'm going to name her the phenomenal Lady in Red this morning, since she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But thank you for that powerful message and for telling us about the dream and how to get the dream back. So thank you so much for that phenomenal message. UNCF Jewels in Higher Education, Rust College, St. Augustine's University, Shaw University, Spelman College, Stillman College, Talladega College, Texas College, and Tougaloo College. Thank you again, Reverend Siobhan Arline Bradley, a Baptist minister, talking about a Baptist minister. Thank you very much. At this time, we will have remarks from UNCF representatives, Area Development Director Tanya R. Sweeney, and UNCF Student Ambassador Maya Sullivan. Now, as Area Development Director for UNCF, the United Negro College Fund, Tanya is a certified member of CASE, and she has her CFRE. And the Washington area office team works tirelessly to raise funds in Maryland and the North Virginia area in support of UNCF mission of helping students attend college, graduate, and become leaders in their community. Tanya has a BS in chemical engineering. What a smart, brilliant woman from Tufts University, and an MBA in marketing from the University of Wisconsin. Let's hear from them both.
Hi, my name is Maya Sullivan, and I am from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. I'm an amazing senior student at Tuskegee University studying animal science. Ever since I can remember, I wanted to help make the world a better place by helping animals and their owners. In fact, for my Girl Scout Silver Award project, I held a community event to educate animal owners on how to properly care for their animals. This event also informed the community members on how to adopt animals from the local animal shelter. I come from a long line of family members who have attended HBCUs. Being an HBCU meant that I could continue the legacy of attending the most elite universities that would provide me with a top-notch education and provide me with the support needed to succeed in education and at life. At HBCUs, the instructors and staff treated me like family and made sure that I had the tools to survive and to live my dreams. I love my HBCU, the illustrious and historic Tuskegee University. I am happy to have received 2 scholarships from UNCF. The scholarships meant the difference of me affording to attend Tuskegee University and to live my dreams of studying to become a veterinarian. Receiving these scholarships also helped me understand the importance of UNCF and its mission to help students like me succeed to pursue their dreams. My mom worked and still works very hard, even taking on multiple jobs to help me pursue my dreams. I owe everything to her, and receiving these UNCF scholarships helped me to take the burden from her for my undergraduate education. She instilled in me how important it is to get a good education and to give back to the community that has supported you. That support and information received from UNCF allowed me to understand the importance of saying a mind is a terrible thing to waste. The information provided me with tools to apply for internships and opportunities that has enhanced both my professional and personal experiences. As a UNCF student ambassador at Tuskegee University, I was able to encourage and educate students about the scholarships and internships offered by UNCF to give students options for paying for school. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm eternally grateful to have received UNCF scholarships and to have been a UNCF ambassador. Thanks for believing in students like me and for supporting my dreams to become a veterinarian. Your support has helped me to graduate cum laude from Tuskegee University in May 2021 and attend veterinary medical school in September 2021. My daily mantra is courage, confidence, and character. That's me. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I am Tanya Sweeney, Area Development Director of the Washington, D.C. office of the United Negro College Fund. And I want to thank you and welcome you to our 38th annual Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast, hosted by the Washington Inter-Alumni Council of UNCF. We are happy to be here to further the legacy of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his fight for civil rights and equal opportunities for all. We also want to thank Wegmans for being a sponsor of this event. And we appreciate having as our keynote speaker, Associate Pastor of the Alfred Street Baptist Church here in the DMV, Reverend Siobhan Arlene Bradley. Thank you so much for being here. This is all about the students, and with your help, we can continue to get students to and through college. You can help by simply going to uncfmlk.givesmart.com. That's uncfmlk.givesmart.com. Any amount you give would be greatly appreciated and will make a difference in the life of a student, their family, and the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your dedication and support for UNCF and what you do on a daily basis. Our final UNCF jewels in higher education: Tuskegee University, Virginia Union University, Voorhees College, Wilberforce University, Wiley College, Xavier University, and WIAC member colleges, St. Paul's College, and my alma mater, Morris Brown College. Let's give our UNCF jewels in higher education a huge round of applause for what they do, not only in their local community, but for the country as a whole. And I'm saying to myself, where in the world has the time gone? It has been such a pleasure being with you all this morning and serving as your host. The 38th Annual MLK Celebration Committee worked tirelessly to plan a program that would enlighten and inspire you. The year 2020 was challenging. However, it afforded new opportunities to be more creative and to do more things differently. We would like to again acknowledge the UNCF Partner in Education, the sponsor for today's breakfast, Wegmans. The 38th Annual MLK Junior Breakfast would not be possible without the dedication and hard work and planning of volunteers. Thanks to all team, I call them Team WIAC members, under the leadership of Dr. Tressie Muldrow, Barbara McSweeney, Fanny Allen, Robert L. Bell, Mary Bowling, Beverly Cole, Annette Graham, and Kathy Mosley. Thanks for a job well done. Thanks also to UNCF President and CEO, Dr. Michael L. Lomax, Vice President for Development at UNCF, Paulette Jackson, and the entire UNCF staff. Today's celebration was both creative and different, and we're doing it in record time. And this was made possible by our virtual production and technical team members, Willie T. Montgomery Jr., James Butler III, and Shawnee McElwain. I had to practice on that one. Thank you, Shawnee McElwain. We are so pleased that you could participate from the comfort of your homes or your favorite location. Share the perspective of our speaker, Reverend Siobhan Arlene Bradley, and be reminded that for UNCF, the King holiday represents a day on, not a day off, and aligns with former President Obama's national call to service. All Americans should work together to serve. During this pandemic, more than ever, our UNCF students and the 37 member colleges and universities need your support. Your generosity has a significant and enduring impact on the lives of the students and the future of our educational institutions. UNCF is overwhelmingly grateful for your sustained support in continuing the tradition for 38 consecutive years. All of us at UNCF and the WIAC look forward to your continuous participation in this historic event next year, and hopefully we all will be on the ground, and we invite you to join us for the 39th celebration. We will close the program with a song by soloist Phoenix Miranda. She is a sophomore studying vocal performance at Michigan State University and accompanied by performers who are members of the 15th Street Presbyterian Church Youth Group in Washington, D.C. And finally, the benediction and the sending forth by Pastor John David Savoy. So thank you again for sharing your time, your talents, and your treasures. Please be vigilant, be safe, follow COVID guidelines, wear your masks, stay 6 feet apart, and have a wonderful rest of your MLK birthday celebration. Thank you.
We lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Ring with the harmonies of liberty.
Let a rejoicing rise high as listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the day that hope unborn had died.
Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to a place on which our Father sighed.
So we sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. We, as one, sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising mighty sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Good morning. Once again, first I'd like to give thanks to Brother Sam Burston for what he has done this morning in facilitating and carrying us through. Thank you so much, Brother Sam. As we close, I ask that we be sure and keep the words of Dr. Bradley in mind. I believe she gave us a powerful challenge that we all need to pick up and do something with. If everyone can bow your heads and close your eyes as we close out today. God of all creation, we come before you today to give you thanks for a blessed celebration. You are worthy of all praise. You are the source of all that is good. You are the source of all of our blessings. Thank you for every gift that we have been given. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather on this day. We ask that you bless us as we sit in the place of civil unrest, presidential transition, in the midst of a global pandemic. Please cover us and cover our public servants. We ask that you bless our nation with a sensitivity to you and a desire for peace. We ask that you bless our nation with justice and reconciliation as we move forward. We thank you for how we have been challenged today through the words of Dr. Bradley. We ask that you help us as we take up our mantle of responsibility. Thank you for helping and enabling us to accomplish your will for our lives. And let everyone say, amen.
Amen.
Bless you all.
Thank you.